Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder's Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Yale part number 50-1173-1013-048. This is basically a spindle for an unusual door thickness when it comes to a full dummy. So this, as you might guess, is a pretty unusual piece of equipment. I had a client ask me for this, and they're sending me pages out of the Schlage technical manual that they've got a full dummy and that the spindle is the wrong length. And a Schlage full dummy is going to be different than the Yale full dummy because the Schlage is referencing from the edge of the door. On this full dummy, there's an actual component that goes to the edge of the door, and asking the client, is it at 2 3/4 backside? Client's telling me the door's it's 2.5 inch or 3 inch. I forget what the dimension they were giving. Turns out I finally got a picture of the lock to find out, oh, okay, that's not Schlage, that's Yale is what that lock is. You've got a full dummy, and now I understand. You're talking about door thickness because when you look at the parts drawing for the Yale, you'll see that this is the only piece it could be. This key stock is 0.357 by 0.357, roughly. This will have these grooved features on two faces along with the holes drilled on the opposite side. It is about 4 3/4 overall length. It is 0.165 pound. From the edge to those two holes, we'll put a dimension on that so you can see where those holes are located. 9, 18, 19, 30 seconds maybe to the first one. And then to the second one, looks like we're going to be closer to 7/8 of an inch. I won't bother trying to measure the ID on those holes. So let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the supporting information for this. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So there's most certainly not a whole lot to see here, but we do have the parts drawing that's here. And this is the item that we're starting with. And the client was initially referring to part 12. It's a similar concept in Schlage, and I couldn't understand what they were saying. And it turns out they were really talking about part 9 once we saw that photograph of the lock. And part 9, okay, it's going to be held on to what would be the interior half of the full dummy via that set screw. Then there are going to be pins that hold this, roll pins that hold this spindle fixed to the outside trim. So part 9, 3 different part numbers dependent on door thickness, and here they are. Okay, let's take a look at some photographs that we have. The purpose of this video, I suppose, is to just allow you to determine absolutely if this is the item that you need or not. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page as seen here, where you can pull up not only all of the Yale products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website here, as well as a link to the full product catalog there. Speaking of the full product catalog, we have some archival catalogs. We have some really old catalogs. 1880, 1884, 1905, 1929. 1934 holds a special place in my heart. That's because let's wrap up this video on camera and I'll tell you that story. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. In the process of studying for the ALOA CPL, the Certified Professional Locksmith, the way that all that works is to become a certified registered locksmith or a certified professional locksmith or a certified master locksmith, CRL, CPL, CML, you take a mandatory exam, 200 plus questions. If you don't know locksmithing, you're probably not going to guess the answers right, even though some people might do well in certain sections, but in others, without knowledge, you just, you don't know what is the difference between broaching and milling. You may know that. You might be able to answer that. What you may not be able to answer is, what is the function of a build-up pin in a master ring cylinder? You may not be able to answer that. Once you pass that mandatory exam, there are several electives that you take. I think you have to take 2 to become a certified registered locksmith, or maybe it was 4, I forget. But then on top of that, you need to take another 10 tests that are 25 questions each, electives, to become a certified professional locksmith. One of those tests, to say that I struggled on it would be being kind to myself to a point that is unfair to the rest of the universe. I needed to retake it many, many times. Obviously, I was getting certain questions wrong. This test was on lever tumbler locks. And a lever tumbler lock, if you are a locksmith, then you know what that is. If you are not a locksmith, I'm pretty sure you're thinking the wrong thing in your head. A lever tumbler lock is absolutely 18th century technology. Well, that technology went into the 20th century as well. And it very much still exists today, in fact, in high security bank locks. Tumblers are what's inside the lock that prevents anything from working the lock unless the tool that you're using, like a key, knows how to bypass those tumblers. There's wafer tumbler, there's pin tumbler, and then there's lever tumbler. This test on lever tumbler locks, I was getting this one question wrong every time. I got to a point where I was getting in my possession these locks that are 100 plus years old so I could take them apart and figure out how they work. Because I wasn't a locksmith in the 1930s, where customers would walk in with 30-year-old locks and need you to fix them, so I don't have any experience. And that 1934 catalog, after I had taken this test countless times, I would fail it, and I would go back to the drawing board, restudy everything. What did I miss? What did I miss? To the point where it was process of elimination with the questions. And in that 1934, I found that I had been answering that one question wrong every single time. And the question was, when you have a bit key or a barrel key and you turn it, will the action of rotating that key retract both the latch and the deadbolt? And I was always answering, no, it doesn't. Those are disconnected parts. You can unlock the deadbolt, and you can retract the latch with a key. Turns out I was wrong, and once I flipped that switch flipped that answer the next time that I took the test, I passed it. So that 1934 is special to me for that. But if you want to see the history of one of the founding companies of American hardware manufacturing, you've got the catalogs. Anyway, it's made of steel. It's got a zinc coating on it, obviously, for corrosion resistance. If you have any questions on this Yale 50-1173-1013-048 spindle for a full dummy for a 2 1/4 to a 3 1/4 inch thick door, or any other Yale product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.